Hey everyone, it's Chris with LearnWebLogicOnline.com, and thanks for checking out my free course on SOA 12c. So I'm very excited about this course because this is really the beginning of a whole new series of courses I plan on introducing along the Oracle SOA 12c product line. So what is this course about? Well, really, the core of this course is to get you up and running with SOA 12c in as little time as possible. And we're going to do this using the Quick Start distribution that Oracle has provided. So at the end of all this, you're going to be able to deploy a SOA 12c environment. And I'll show you how we're going to obtain the distribution and install SOA 12c, create a SOA domain, and then connect the JDeveloper to that SOA domain. So with that said, you can kind of get an idea as to who this course is intended for. It's really geared towards developers who really want to stand up a development environment for SOA 12c without having to go through a full-blown enterprise deployment of SOA 12c, which is rather involved, time-consuming, and requires satisfying several prerequisites for your system. And this course is also good for those who just want to evaluate SOA 12c. You don't need to be a developer. You could be an architect. You could be an administrator. You could even be an end user. With SOA 12c, you can also deploy business process management so folks can dabble in process modeling, and those can be business users. They don't need to be developers. So this course is really designed to get your feet wet with installing and deploying a domain. What's not going to be covered in this course, since this is the free course just to get your feet wet, it's not a development course. So this course is not going to show you how to develop SOA composites or work with Oracle Service Bus. It is not going to cover the enterprise deployment techniques for deploying SOA 12c in a production environment. That will be covered in a more detailed class. So ideally, you have some experience already working with WebLogic. And if you don't, please go ahead and check out these other courses that I have at LearnWebLogicOnline.com. I've got a free course that goes over the basics of Oracle WebLogic Server. Oracle WebLogic Server, if you don't know, underlines the SOA 12c and all the other Fusion middleware products. So if you can understand WebLogic 12c, then you can certainly get through this SOA 12c course fairly easily. And then there's the full-blown paid version of the course, Oracle WebLogic 12c Administration, which goes through much more in-depth topics with WebLogic, security, high availability, enterprise deployments, and WebLogic scripting tools. So it's a very full-featured course. If you want more background on WebLogic, please check out those two courses. So why the quick start method and not the enterprise deployment? Really, you've got two options when you install SOA 12c. You can go the quick start route, or you can go the standard installation or an enterprise deployment route. Well, the quick start is really the best, quickest, and safest option to install SOA in your environment if you're looking just to evaluate or to stand up a development environment or just even experiment, with 12c, with SOA 12c. So with the quick start distro, you could be up and running with SOA in as little as an hour, whereas a full-blown enterprise install of SOA 12c could take hours. The main reason for this is twofold, really. A full enterprise install requires an enterprise database, presumably Oracle in this case. And the second is that an enterprise install of SOA is a distributed install across multiple physical, logical, virtual servers, and requires the instantiation of multiple WebLogic managed servers as well to support that install. So neither the enterprise database or the full-scale distributed deployment are required to support an SDLC or a proof of concept environment. So what the quick start distribution does is it collapses the entire installation, the entire deployment onto a single WebLogic admin server, rather than have it being distributed across multiple servers. So what is Quick Start? I kind of touched on this in the previous slide. Quick Start is a smaller distribution. So the distribution's around maybe 3.5, 4 gigabytes, whereas the full distribution's a little bit larger than that. It requires fewer system requirements to be satisfied. So in the case of a Quick Start, the operating system requirements are relaxed a little bit. It does not require an enterprise database, and that is the biggest system requirement that is not needed for Quick Start. It's a collapsed installation, meaning that it's installed and deployed on a single admin server. And it comes with an embedded database, JavaDB. With an enterprise install, it's a fairly large distribution, many gigabytes, many downloads from Oracle eDelivery. There are many system requirements to satisfy, not just the enterprise database requirement that's mentioned here, but there are also operating system kernel requirements that have to be met. So there's some configuration involved with the OS at the OS level. And obviously the installation of an enterprise database like Oracle 12c rack is something that you can't do in a day traditionally. So very involved. It's there for supporting a production environment at scale to provide the high availability that is definitely not required for an SDLC type of environment. So agenda. I'm going to first walk through how to download and access the lab guide. In my other courses, I found that it's been difficult to find the lab guide. I usually attach it to a lecture on the platform that this course is being hosted. So I'll walk through that, very basic. And then I'm going to go over a before you begin process where I'm going to talk about the system requirements that you'll need to meet prior to running through the lab itself. And then I'll show you how to go onto oracle.com and download that Quick Start distribution. Then we'll walk through installing the Quick Start distribution and create a SOA domain, and then connecting that domain to JDeveloper. So I've got other courses online as well. Like I mentioned before, we've got the free course for WebLogic, and then there's a paid course for the full paid course for administrators. So check out learnweblogiconline.com. Sign up for my mailing list. I'll send you some discounts and some coupons.